Tiny Beautiful Things is a compilation of advice columns written by Cheryl StrayedA under the pseudonym Sugar. These columns were originally published on the Rumpus and became famous for their raw honesty, emotional depth, and lyrical prose. The book is not merely a collection of advice but a literary experience that merges memoir, storytelling, and deeply compassionate insight. StrayedA responds to readers who bare their souls, and in turn, she bares hers. The questions posed to Sugar range from the mundane to the soul-crushing. People write in about heartbreak, loss, grief, shame, loneliness, regret, and longing. Some seek help for navigating relationships or personal crises, while others ask for guidance on healing from traumatic events. Rather than respond with traditional, detached advice, StrayedA replies with visceral honesty, often sharing stories from her own tumultuous life. StrayedA's writing is a powerful reminder that the best advice often comes not from having all the answers, but from understanding what it means to be broken and still choose to live with an open heart. Her voice is neither clinical nor condescending, it's warm, fierce, nurturing, and brutally truthful. She embraces complexity and doesn't offer quick fixes, but rather, she gives readers the tools to face themselves. Central to the book is StrayedA's belief in radical empathy. She doesn't shy away from the pain her readers are experiencing. Instead, she holds space for it, acknowledging that life is often harsh and unfair. She validates the experiences of those who write in and meets their vulnerability with her own. Her responses show that healing often begins by simply being heard. In many of her columns, StrayedA recounts personal stories, losing her mother at a young age, navigating an abusive relationship, battling drug use, and walking the Pacific Crest Trail alone. These experiences are not presented as heroic tales, but as real, often messy parts of her life. By sharing them, she connects deeply with her readers, illustrating that even in suffering, there is solidarity. One of the most famous essays in the book is, "Write Like a Motherfucker," addressed to a struggling writer. StrayedA does not sugarcoat the difficulty of writing or the fear of failure. Instead, she tells the letter writer to stop waiting for permission and start creating, because no one will come to save them. This essay, like many in the collection, is both a call to action and a warm embrace. Grief and loss are recurring themes throughout Tiny Beautiful Things. StrayedA's reflections on losing her mother are especially poignant. She writes about how grief doesn't go away, it changes shape, becomes part of you. Her words offer comfort without platitudes. To those mourning the death of loved ones, she doesn't say it gets better. She says it gets different, and in that difference, life continues. StrayedA also tackles questions of love and relationships, when to stay, when to leave, how to forgive, and how to recognize one's worth. She challenges readers to confront the truths they may be avoiding. In one letter, she tells a woman questioning her partner's love that the answer is in the question itself. In another, she helps someone who cheated on their partner see both their mistake and their humanity. There's a running thread of empowerment throughout the book. StrayedA continually reminds her readers that they are not powerless, even when they feel lost. She tells them to be brave enough to break your own heart, to put yourself in the way of beauty, and to keep walking. Her encouragement is not rooted in blind optimism but in the belief that transformation is possible, even in darkness. What makes the book so compelling is how it mixes advice with poetry, grit, and grace. StrayedA's writing is beautiful without being flowery. She speaks in metaphors and images, yet her messages land with clarity and impact. Each letter response becomes its own short story, its own act of human connection. She also addresses the role of shame, how it festers in silence and isolation. StrayedA urges people to name their shame, to speak it aloud, and in doing so, rob it of its power. In one letter to a man haunted by a mistake, she tells him that being a good person isn't about never failing, it's about choosing, again and again, to live with intention and accountability. The title, Tiny Beautiful Things, reflects a key philosophy that runs through the book: life is full of both suffering and small, sacred moments. StrayedA teaches that even when everything feels broken, there is still beauty to be found, in kindness, in growth, in honesty, and in the very act of surviving. Though the book is full of pain, it is not depressing. It's a work of immense hope. Strayed doesn't flinch from life's ugliness, but she always points toward meaning. Her columns urge readers to find the courage to keep going, even if they have to crawl. Even if they don't know where they're headed yet. Readers often describe feeling changed after reading Tiny Beautiful Things. It doesn't just give you advice, it makes you feel seen. It reminds you that other people are carrying pain too, and that you're not alone in your confusion, your heartbreak, your mistakes, or your dreams. Strayed speaks to the reader as if she knows them, and somehow, she does. By the end of the book, what stays with you is not just the answers she gives, but the compassion she extends. Her willingness to be vulnerable with strangers, and her refusal to look away from suffering, make this book both intimate and universal. Strayed's wisdom doesn't come from perfection, it comes from having lived through the fire and choosing to love anyway. Tiny Beautiful Things is ultimately about the resilience of the human spirit. It's about facing the worst parts of life and still showing up, still choosing to speak with kindness, and still believing in beauty. It's a love letter to everyone who's ever felt lost and a reminder that, as Sugar writes, you don't have a right to the cards you believe you should have been dealt, you have an obligation to play the hell out of the ones you're holding.